Hi and welcome to this ZenWorks Application Virtualization 10 video. In this video we're going to talk about how to enable adaptive streaming of virtual applications when they're being deployed using ZenWorks Application Virtualization 10 server. You'll learn how to profile those applications and then initiate a re-optimization of those applications. This process in previous versions of ZenWorks Application Virtualization was done through Studio and involved a number of steps that many users found somewhat complex. This should make it very simple for you to create an application that can be intelligently streamed across the web so that users have a better experience when accessing this over the internet. Let's take a look at how this works. So here I have the ZenWorks server administrative console, and I'm going to pick an application that currently is not optimized. That's the Novell Messenger application. Now the best practice is any application that's over about 10 to 20 megabytes will benefit from being adaptively streamed. If you don't configure adaptive streaming, then essentially the SVM, which is the application package, is moved in its entirety or copied in its entirety down to the device before the executable can be launched. If you want this to be the case, if you're on a high-speed LAN, this has advantages because the application will already be present and everything will be there and the user will be able to use it connected or disconnected. However, in many cases you may have contractors or other people who are working over the internet or at home, and they may have a slower bandwidth pipe and they may not need to run this application disconnected. So in those cases it really does benefit you to optimize the application. So let's take a look. If you scroll down here and go into the version that's published, and then scroll down, you have this option here called Optimize. If I click Optimize, there are basically two actions that can be performed here. There's profiling and then updating the model. You'll see right now this application has no model. It's never been updated, which means that if I launch Messenger, it automatically streams the entire SVM down to the device. If I click Profile App, then I have the ability to then run the application. Now if this is a multi-entry point or jukeboxed application, in this list I would have the ability to profile each entry point. So in something like Microsoft Office, I would see run PowerPoint, run Word, run Excel here, and I could profile each one of those independently. In the case of Novell Messenger, it's a single application, so I can just click Run Novell Messenger, and assuming that you have the plugin, it just goes ahead and executes. Now in this case, I need to make sure that I actually log in, because what you're doing when you profile is helping the ZenWorks Application Virtualization program to understand what happens when this application launches. Get it to the point where the user would normally be ready to start doing his work, maybe do the first step or two of his work, and then exit the application. Now one important thing to note is you need to completely exit that application. So if it happens to run a background process, or it happens to start a virtual service or something, you would need to make sure that that service stopped or all of the pieces of that application stopped before the profiling process is complete. Once the profiling process is complete and you hit done here, you'll see that you'll now have a new unused profile. Typically, it's recommended that you profile this application on at least each of the operating system types that your end users will be launching this application on. The reason for that is the application may be operating system aware and only load specific things on certain platforms, and this will help you catch that. So you'll repeat this on multiple workstations. You may run it 2 or 3 times to give it the best possible information. When you're all done, the only thing you have to do is click Update Model. You'll see that moves to a requested state, indicating that there's a background thread on the server that this has been queued up for. From there it will actually go into a state where it tells you it's building it, or it's been completed, depending on how quickly this application can be done. And then once the optimization is completed, the last update will exist, and your application will now be adaptively streamed the next time your end users launch it. Now, what adaptively streamed means is that when the user actually launches the application, rather than downloading the entire SVM file to the user's device, it only grabs enough of the application to do what it needs to launch the app. And then as the user is working, it intelligently predicts what the user's likely to do next and then pulls down other bits. In this way, it's very much like streaming a video, where you pull just enough of what you need so that you don't use more of the bandwidth than you absolutely need. So you'll see here the model status now shows as being complete. You get the last update, and so the next time that this application is launched, it will be intelligently streamed to the device. So what you saw here is how much easier it is now to stream and to profile the application and optimize the application when you're publishing the application through the ZenWorks Application Virtualization Server product with ZenWorks Application Virtualization 10. Thank you.